Okay, so let's continue. The previous video stopped because I had storage issue with in the iPhone. So it's clear to me that for both of us, for Homo sapiens and for me, it's true that when a new unknown virus or germ enters the body, there is kind of a fight between the immune system. You have your own like white body cells, etc. I know really biology is not my field, so but it's somehow related. I remember from most of what I know about biology. Actually, I learned like when I was 6 or 7 years old, and not much was actually not much more. I've seen there is like a very good. There was like a very good TV show, a French one, Once Upon a Time Life. In Hebrew, it's called Achaim. And I think that most of what I know about biology is from this show. It's like animated cartoon. So, and unfortunately, since then, I haven't studied much biology. I mean, until now that I'm studying alien biology. And you might argue that, I mean, this French cartoon from the 70s or 80s, which is very successful, but I mean, still it's a cartoon for like primary schoolers, might not be the, I mean, complete necessary background in order to successfully conduct academic level research into alien biology. But I mean that's I mean this is life. So so yeah, I remember that like there is like the white body cells, like they have spaceships and they shoot the germs, and yeah. So it's clear that something like that happens inside my body as well. But I think and while it happens, this fight happens, I'm getting sick like you. But I am almost certain, I'm 100% certain that my immune system is much stronger because the neurons are much more versatile and also much smarter than and incomparably more cooperative, because they can cooperate with each other much better than the white blood cell or whatever. So it makes me much more immune than you, even though, but not. I mean, no, it doesn't. I mean, doesn't mean that I'm immune to anything or that nothing can kill me. This is obviously not true. I mean, if the microorganism that will enter my body will be strong enough and stubborn enough, or it will be present in my body in large quantities enough, I mean, of course, that there could be, I mean, the disease could lead to death. If you, like me, define my current situation as life, I mean, anyway, termination of my current state. However, when this occurs outside of my body, the germs might have much better, and the microbes much better, chance they have to actually win the fight, because inside my body the neurons outnumber them by far, and also they can cooperate, which makes them like, as I said, very little defense for our army, like an incredibly efficient phalanx to protect the body. But when they are outside of the body, like in all the experiments that we've seen, the smaller ones, which are almost certainly in the nanoscale, could be eaten by the larger germs, and it might take time for the larger ones to get hold of the situation and eat the germs, and possibly that's what we've seen. Maybe what we've seen is actually an intermediate stage where the germs or the microbes actually overcome the smaller and probably the more frequent. I mean, statistically, it makes sense that they are more frequent. The smaller neurons, and they actually ate them. And then the larger ones joined the party, and I just counted. I mean, when I took the video, it was just in process of the bigger ones terminating the smaller germs, that because we've seen that they are they could be found in their vicinity, and especially inside the big neros with the yellow pools. And I saw that I hypothesized that maybe they are in the vicinity because they were revived by the neros, but maybe it's not true. Maybe it was in the vicinity because the bigger ones came to they came to join the fight and kill the little bastards. But it only happened after them. The germs already have eaten some of the much smaller ones, and eventually, when we returned to the same slide after a couple of days, I didn't find life, and it's true about all the slides. After a couple of days, you don't see life in any of them. Which makes sense because it makes sense that neros, are programmed to destroy germs and microbes and not to keep them alive they cannot co-live inside the slide with them. It's either that the germs will triumph, which is unlikely, but still much more likely than the scenario that this will happen inside my body, which is terribly unlikely because of the reasons that I already stated. But it is possible that that it will take some time for the neros to win the war because they are in much small quantity in the tiny slide, which is like 1/10 of ejaculation than inside my whole body. But this leads me to another thought. Maybe those germs have eaten the smaller neros and they received superpowers from it, and that's what enabled them to actually stay alive inside the freezer, which is very peculiar. But it's not that peculiar when you start to contemplate my own situation right now. Like, why am I in jail? Why am I tortured all my life? Why do people, hunt me like a animal which is a prey to them? Why am I so poor and the government just and the population in Israel do everything that they can in order to just squash me, to make me the rug? Why? The reasons, it's obvious. I've already spoken about it even today. They want the nero juice. They know about it a long time ago, and they want me to supply it like a farm animal, so they will be able to do something with it. Now, and I've said many times that one of the victories of the Israeli intelligence is that until now, even though it's like years that I'm contemplating my situation, until now I don't have a definitive answer to the question of what exactly do the Israelis do with it, and it's possibly several. And I've said it before that it's probably not only one thing, and I've said it's like I consider it a victory for the Israeli intelligence because they misled many. It's like the Israeli intelligence, like other intelligence agencies, it's a disinformation factory. That's what they do all day. They just create. Just write more and more lies and shoot at you at all directions and until you've got like million versions of the truth, and that's what they do, and on that particular issue or front they succeeded because to this point I don't know exactly what they do with it, but I do know that the titanesses, the titan females, they require it for some reason, and that they have like a cycle in their own body that is responsive to this material, and that the cycle itself is important for the Israelis. They treat everybody like a farm animal. It's amazingly disgusting. But I've also said that this does not exclude the possibility of the Israelis directly, both males and females, Homo sapienses are directly consuming this material for reasons that until now I'm not sure I understand. But I've said before that for certain it doesn't give them like intelligence or cognitive capabilities, because they are much dumber stupider than their ancestors, like in Europe and also in the Arab countries. I mean, the Jews of the European Jews and the Jews of the countries in Islam were considerably smarter. I mean, way smarter on average than the Jews in Israel. So it's not. Intelligence is not what I mean. They do not get. I mean, they do not become smarter from this for certain. But I don't know what they do. I mean, I can only speculate, but I don't know what kind of capabilities do they get from it. I can say that, I mean, assuming that they do get something from it, and that for certain the Titan females get something from it, it's not that unreasonable that germs and microbes will also get something from it and develop kind of like X-Men or X-germ mutant capabilities. And this leads us to the final point. What could have happened if, for example, when the germs that we've seen have already won like a first battle against the smaller neros and developed like new capabilities from it, they mutated from it, but at that situation, at that point, they could have just ran away. I mean, it's not possible inside the slide, which is protected by sellotape, and inside the freezer, of course. But let's say that this kind of thing could have happened outside of this of the freezer or in like without sellotape or in an open environment, and that after they've eaten the smaller ones, they would have managed to run away before the bigger neros come to the help to the battle, or perhaps in a situation where bigger neros were just not there because only tiny sample of semen was possibly, I don't know, dropped inside like a glass with pond water with a lot of germs or something like that, metaphorically or not. This is kind of an interesting scenario because if I'm correct, I know that it was very speculative, but if everything I said is correct, then this situation could possibly, I mean, in case the mutated one can multiply, which is not inevitable. I mean, many times mutants, as we know, are not fertile. It's a common trope, by the way, in science fiction, in Asimov, but in many others authors as well, that the trope of mutant human being with superpowers, but that is sterile. It happens in nature as well. So it's not something like, but not always. I mean, not all mutants are sterile. If it was the case, the evolution would not have been possible. Evolution is based, among other things, on the fact that mutants are not always sterile. So if those newly mutated germs or viruses are not sterile and possibly they enough ate the nano neurons and became like X germs or X viruses, and then they started to multiply. I mean, it's kind of an interesting scenario because this does not require, I mean, the neros to replicate anything or it's only what's required from the neros in this situation is just that the smaller ones will be in the vicinity, outside mobility, and in the vicinity of large amount of strong and aggressive germs or viruses, and that the quantity of neros will be small enough, so I mean, statistically, it will be viable that only very tiny ones are there, and the bigger ones cannot finish the ones that defeated the smaller ones. I know, just another scenario that will lead to this destruction of the Earth. You've heard many of such scenarios recently, and you will hear about more of them. Initially from me and later from the news. Okay, so I'll continue with my practical research, and I'll upload videos very, very soon. And as always, I'm glad to receive any comments, suggestions, new research horizons, etc.